What's up everyone? So today I'm reacting to a video called Why You Won't Survive British Special Forces Training. This is from the Infographics Show. They're a really popular channel on YouTube, but if you haven't seen them already, there'll be a link down below to this specific video. Go and give it a like and go and check out some of the videos. They're really cool. But before we get into that, I want to give a shout out to all these beautiful people right here. These are my members. If it wasn't for these guys, I wouldn't be doing videos every single day, so thank you so much for supporting the channel. I really do enjoy chatting to you all in Discord. It's really cool. And tonight, let's hope tonight we finally get that win in Warzone. If you're a member and you're not part of the Discord yet, there's a link down below. And if you are not a member and you want to have a bit of a chin wag anyway, there'll be a link down below for you to chat. I am sporting some of the merch that I finally got done. This is the merch. There'll be a link down below for that as well if you want to go and check that out. Okay, I'll shut up now. I'll shut up. Let's bring up the screen. I'm going to shuffle to the side so you can see me head. And then let's watch this. Let's see what they say, okay? I might pause a little bit and have a bit of a chin wag with you guys and like see what's going on. It's about 10 minutes long, so let's see what they say or why you wouldn't survive British Special Forces training.
The Special Air Service, Britain's original special forces, and the granddaddy of all modern special forces. The SAS is the benchmark by which every other special forces unit is measured, and their tactics and training methods have been replicated all over the world. The history of the SAS begins in the deserts of World War II, and their feats of daring are the stuff of legend and continue to this day in the global war on terrorism. One of the toughest special forces outfits in the world to enter into, the SAS requires the absolute best out of every recruit. Many apply each year to join this legendary service, and many fail and are washed out of training. What about you, though? Think you've got what it takes to join the elite SAS? SAS selection takes place across several phases of selection, with Selection Phase 1, known as Endurance, taking place over 3 grueling weeks. Any dummy can be physically fit and carry a heavy pack, but Selection Phase 1 will weed out the dumb brutes and leave behind only the mentally and physically strong. For Phase 1, you'll head out to the countryside in South Wales, but don't expect a picnic, because you'll immediately be put to marching across varying routes. Initially, you'll carry a pack loaded up with the essential gear, such as a rain poncho, sleeping bag, first aid kit, and distress flares. Though you can expect that as the distance you're forced to march increases, so does the weight. You'll carry your food with you too, which consists of some bread rolls, a few Mars candy bars, and potato chips, along with a 24-hour ration pack that can only be opened in an emergency. Forced to march endlessly, low on food and sleep, this phase isn't just testing your physical fitness, but your mental fitness as well. Unlike in most other Special Forces candidate programs, here you won't have to deal with instructors screaming at you and breathing down your neck. Instead, SAS instructors purposefully leave you completely to your own devices, offering no encouragement, but no chastisement either. You will pass or fail completely of your own volition. And you better be good at disciplining temptation too, because while you may be starving, opening up that 24-hour emergency ration pack without permission is grounds for rejection. Attention to detail is critical for an SAS soldier, so as long as you're trying to drag yourself through another day-long march on your blistered feet, you should expect instructors to occasionally quiz you about landmarks you may have just passed. The purpose is to test your alertness and see how well you can pay attention while physically miserable. One candidate said he was asked how many supports were on a bridge he had just crossed over during his march. Eventually, you'll face the final test, a grueling 40-mile march up and down hills, carrying 55 pounds of gear and an assault rifle to boot. Not only will you have to accurately navigate your own course, but you'll only have 22 hours to complete the course. Failure means your application process is over, and you'll return to your home unit. Just because you pass, though, don't expect that you're on to the next official phase, because instructors will have been carefully evaluating you the entire time. If they suspect you aren't the right stuff, it won't matter how fast you completed your course or how much weight you can carry. You'll be rejected and sent back to your home unit. Out of 200 candidates, only around 30 to 40 will make it past this phase and move on to the next phase, jungle training. Like most of SAS's training, the exact details of what goes on in the jungle phase are classified. What is known, though, is that trainees will learn jungle survival skills, as well as how to conduct patrols deep behind enemy lines and live off the land for weeks at a time. Trainees will learn how to operate as a 4-man unit and live on ration.
Just pause it there a second. This is what people have told them actually goes on, like what they've been told goes on, but for the most part, most people don't know actually what happens in training, in selection, sorry, for the SAS or any special forces. it's actually not really known exactly what goes on. So even though this is like showing you what they think goes on, this is what they've been told. This is secondhand information from people who have been in or have tried selection. So a lot of this is probably false. A lot of it might be true. You don't know, guys. You just don't know.
Remaining undetected as they carry out their mission. A strong emphasis on physical fitness will also see trainees hit the gym every day, and after the gym there will be a great deal of time spent out on the range. There you'll learn how to operate standard bits of SAS gear, to include battle rifles, recoilless rifles, grenade launchers, and light machine guns. Trainees will also learn how to operate many other weapons in use across the world. An SAS soldier must know how to pick up a weapon in a foreign battlefield and use it effectively if he needs to. You'll also undergo training on setting up ambushes as well as responding to enemy ambushes. You'll be trained in advanced scouting techniques and how to observe your environment for subtle changes that could signal a hidden enemy patrol or a sniper perched and waiting. Detecting changes in color, shadows, or even small movements can mean the difference between life and death for an SAS operative deep behind enemy lines. As with many other Special Forces training programs, you'll also learn advanced defensive driving techniques, enabling a quick getaway in any hostile situation. These are many of the same techniques that police use for stopping speeding drivers, but you'll learn how to avoid those same techniques and not be stopped yourself. We hope you like blowing things up, because you'll also be learning how to handle a variety of explosives. And because explosions typically mean wounded, you'll receive extensive medical training that can be quickly deployed out in the field. One of the most important jobs that Special Forces operators do in war is reconnaissance. And so you'll learn how to establish listening posts and observation posts, and covertly observe an enemy. To aid you in your mission, you'll learn how to use a variety of secure communications gear, such as satellite radios, and how to avoid getting pinned down by the enemy due to your electronic emissions. Lastly, you'll undergo extensive hand-to-hand and close-quarters combat techniques, and become an expert in breaching and assaulting enemy structures. To make it to the end of this phase, you'll be amongst the 15 to 20 who didn't get sick from the jungle environment and drop out, or weren't washed out by instructors. Don't start congratulating yourself yet though, because the ultimate test is coming up next. Part 1 of your final test is a 3-day Escape-and-Evasion course. You'll be given a ratty old coat, boots that may be held together with only strings, and
From what I know, it's longer than 3 days. From what I've been told.
no food or water. You'll have a short head start and must evade capture for 3 days by a hunter force equipped with dogs and modern equipment. For these 3 days, you must live off the land while evading your pursuers, and though officially you're barred from entering any structures, some crafty trainees may sneak their way into a civilian property and maybe even have a local take them in. As with most Special Forces tests, cheating is simply another creative way of accomplishing the required objective, as long as you aren't caught, that is. The second part of your final test will take place when you're captured, or at the end of the 3 days. If you've managed to avoid capture, then you'll be expected to return to a designated location at the end of the 3rd day. Once there, you'll be handcuffed, have a bag thrown over your head, and be taken to a remote location. Instructors will then attempt to break you down mentally. You'll be placed in stress positions and forced to hold them for hours at a time. You may be locked in a cage the size of a dog kennel, while instructors bash the roof of it with chains. Instructors will strip you nude in front of female instructors who will mock the size of your manhood. It's all a mental game, meant to soften you up for the pending interrogation sessions. After enough humiliation and mental torture, you'll be thrown into a room with an interrogator, and your job will be to only reveal the big 4 to him or her: your name, rank, serial number, and date of birth. Giving the interrogator any information other than that will lead to your immediate expulsion from SAS training. That's it, the end of the line for you. If you make it through this final phase, then you can feel proud of accomplishing what very few people have ever done. You'll receive the beige beret with the winged dagger insignia, and officially become a member of the British Special Air Service. However, maybe celebrate modestly, because you'll be on probation until you finish your continuation training, and sadly, many soldiers are returned to their home unit during this phase. If that happens to you, you'll at least have worn the beret for a short time, and that's an accomplishment in and of itself. If you make it through training though, you'll join the 22nd Special Air Service Regiment, which consists of 4 active squadrons, A, B, D, and G. Each squadron is made up of around 60 men, meaning there's roughly 240 active duty SAS soldiers at a time in the British military, with 2 reserve regiments, the 21st and 23rd SAS. This is in sharp contrast to the approximately 2,000 Navy SEALs the US military has, but that's due to the smaller size of the British military. Amongst each SAS squadron are 4 troops, and each troop specializes in a different area of expertise. The air troop is specialized in parachute insertions, including static line insertions and halo jumps deep behind enemy lines. The boat troop is specialized in amphibious operations, such as inserting into hostile beaches via submarines, a favorite tactic of U.S. SEALs. Interestingly, SAS and American SEALs work so closely together that often SAS soldiers will deploy from an American submarine specially outfitted to deliver special forces under the cover of the waves. Mobility troop soldiers specialize in handling any number of vehicles. You can think of them as the getaway drivers of the SAS. Mountain troops are trained in Arctic warfare and navigating and surviving in dangerous mountainous terrain. SAS mountain troops work closely with American and French special forces in the mountain regions of Afghanistan, hunting down Taliban and Al-Qaeda fighters in deep mountain complexes. The close-knit relationship between SAS and American Special Forces means that both nations share many of the same tactics and training techniques, and an SAS soldier is always welcome aboard any American aircraft or boat. If you had joined the SAS in the early 2000s, you may have been a part of the legendary Task Force 88, easily the deadliest fighting force ever assembled on planet Earth. Immediately after Saddam Hussein's government was ousted from power, Task Force 88 was formed to hunt down the former dictator and his supporters. And over the years, their job evolved to becoming the premier hunter-killers of NATO's war against terrorist leaders in Iraq and Afghanistan. Most of their deeds are shrouded in extreme secrecy, though it's known that TF-88 was responsible for killing one of the key members of the insurgency, al-Zarqawi. At its height, Task Force 88 was made up of Task Force Black, an SAS Sabre squadron supported by specialist boat service operators. Task Force Blue was made up of the legendary SEAL Team 6. Task Force Green was made up of operatives from America's Delta Force. And Task Force Orange was made up of the single most secretive Special Forces operators in the world, America's Intelligence Support Activity, a Special Forces unit whose job is to find actionable intelligence for other Special Forces units and which the Pentagon denies any official knowledge of. Task Force 88 was an example of the close-knit relationship between the Special Air Service and its American counterparts, and that relationship continues to this day in unacknowledged conflicts all around the world. If you think you've got what it takes to make it through SAS selection after watching our video, maybe you too will be working side by side with the world's best, hunting down bad guys in jungles, deserts, and mountains all over the globe. Now that you've watched this adrenaline-packed video, maybe it's time to chill out with this video.
So let me just get rid of that. I have a few things to say. Let me get rid of that. So first and foremost, right, even when you're in the Royal Marines, the knowledge you get of the Special Forces is still... It's either people who have come back from selection, who don't really talk about it anyway, or it's people who are planning on going to selection who have been given information. And to be honest, you don't really get much information. And I think it's kind of it's like a general rule that no one really talks about it that much. We know a bit about it, and for the most part, so obviously you've got different types of special forces, don't you? Have SAS, SBS, Special Boat Service, and the Special Air Service, and you've got a few other ones as well, which I won't get into. And for the most part, Royal Marine Commandos go into the SBS, and a lot of paras go into the SAS. Obviously, it does intertwine quite a bit, but for the most part, that's kind of what happens. And yeah, there's a few things in here that it's probably second, third, or maybe probably third-hand knowledge. Like, you don't really know, like, a lot of this stuff, and there's a lot of rumors, like they were saying, but nobody, unless you have been told by someone who was recently in the Special Forces, this is what happens, you don't really know, because from what I've heard is it changes a lot, like the training changes a lot, it gets improved all the time, and it's very hard, and there's a few things in there that, you know, like I've been told that I probably wouldn't share online. There's a lot of stuff that doesn't get shared online that you don't really want to tell people. And it's not like I have all the secrets, because to be honest, I don't know a lot about the Special Forces in general, but you don't like, at the end of the day, some of these guys who are in the Special Forces, they have families, they have kids and stuff like that, so you don't want them to be compromised, and that's why you see pictures blurred out and stuff, and it's just a sign of respect. This video was good, but I'd like to get like the sources of where they got all this information from, because if they just googled it, it could be from anywhere. So I would really like to see the sources of where they got all this information from. Some of it's really cool. The task force at the end, I don't know anything about that, so I can't say yay or nay, but it does sound very Call of Duty to me. That might be where Call of Duty got the idea from. and it sounds like something that would happen. The British and the US really do have a close bond, especially in the military. I've worked with US forces, and you do get like really close to them. So there is that special bond. So it wouldn't surprise me if something like that happened, but to my knowledge, I don't know much about it. I would love to watch more of these and to kind of get information, but again, more importantly, I want to see the sources. Where did they get this information from? Did they just Google it? Because that you can get anything online. So yeah, seems cool. But if I go for information about special forces, I actually go and watch interviews or podcasts with people who were in the special forces. Or I have a few friends that went and tried selection, and I've not spoke to them since, so I don't know what ever happened to them. So maybe they're in, maybe they're not. I have no idea. Anyway, all right. So thank you so much for watching. Before you all leave, I want to give a huge shout out to all these amazing people. Thank you so much for being members. If you want to be a member, there's a little join button next to the subscribe button down below. It doesn't seem to appear on phones for some reason, but it is on the desktop. The desktop YouTube, so go and check that out. Also, Discord, link down below for members and non-members. Go and join the Discord. It's amazing. We can have some fun and have a chat in there. And for people who see this that I'm wearing, I do have merch. Go and check out the merch. It's awesome. I'm really proud of it, and I am planning on putting some new stuff up real soon, so go and check that out. Thank you so much for watching. If you've got some awesome recommendations for videos for me to react to, please leave them in the comments down below and I will have a look at them. And yeah, have a wonderful day. Stay safe, and I'll see you tomorrow.